Hey, welcome back to the channel, everyone. So today we've got some big updates from the developers of Path of Exile 2, addressing player feedback with meaningful changes, as well as a look at what's coming in the near future. If you're new to Path of Exile, let me quickly highlight why this is so exciting. GGG is known for their transparency and incredible patch notes. What other companies can take a month to fix, they often will handle within a week. The level of detail in their patch notes is just another reason this game is so beloved. Now, let's dive into the changes, what's live, and what's still to come. So let's start with one of the most requested fixes, dodge rolls. A lot of players, myself included, have felt frustrated by getting trapped in packs of mobs or pushed around too easily. To address this, the devs have reduced the player collision size during dodge rolls from 1 unit to 0. This means you'll get stuck far less often as you now slip through tighter gaps. Now, this doesn't mean you'll phase through mobs entirely, something I personally think would be a better move, but it is a step in the right direction. The devs state that this change should make dodging more effective, allowing you to escape even the smallest gaps between enemies. Next up, maps. Many players have called out the tedious backtracking in the game's larger zones. To address this, GGG is introducing several key improvements. Each zone will now have checkpoints at the start and the end, and you'll be able to click on these checkpoints within the zone to teleport between unlocked ones. A midpoint checkpoint will also be added to the first Dreadnought area to break up the long stretch. These changes should reduce frustration significantly, and the devs have already committed to further tweaks based on ongoing feedback. Now on to loot. Arguably the most exciting part of an ARPG, players have expressed concerns that the game didn't feel rewarding enough, and the devs have already made some huge adjustments. For rare mobs, rare bonus per mod has been doubled, 10% quantity bonus has been added per mob, and they increase the modifiers on rare monsters as you progress through the endgame. These changes mean rare mobs will drop more and better loot as you go deeper into the game. Maps will also have a guaranteed minimum number of rare mobs, further boosting overall rewards. Crafting and currency drops have been improved significantly. Here's what's live right now. Regal orb drop rates have been increased by 40%. Disenchanting 6 mod rares now grants 2 Regal shards instead of 1. Gem Cutter Prism drop rates have increased by a whopping 500%, and each now provides 5% quality instead of 1% quality. Chaos Orbs drop slightly less frequently to make room for higher value currency like Exalted Orbs, so we should see a lot more of those. And Lesser Jeweler Orb drop rates have been increased by 33%. These changes are a game changer for anyone looking to fine-tune their builds, especially for newer players who may have struggled with crafting. Map mods were another area of concern, as they often didn't feel worth the added difficulty, so here's what's been updated. Prefix rarity mods have been increased by 2.5 times. Quantity mods now add extra rarity bonus, and the bottom tier mods have been removed. Additionally, the increased number of monster pack wasn't properly affecting some areas. That's being fixed in an upcoming patch, so maps should feel even more rewarding. The devs also introduced unlucky drop protection to ensure more consistent loot, so here's what's changing. The unique monsters can no longer drop more than 50% gold piles, and act and map bosses are guaranteed to drop at least 1 rare item. So this ensures you're consistently rewarded for tougher fights, which is a welcome improvement for both new and veteran players. So as I was putting this video together, the devs announced in a tweet a significant nerf coming up in the next hotfix, so I'll read it. It says, in an upcoming hotfix, we'll be making it so that Raging Spirits can only summon 5 Raging Spirits per cast at that level. They will also no longer be able to be spawned from triggering fire skills. After this hotfix, we'll be making adjustments to other trigger meta gems. In particularly, we're going to be moving towards it being that you will not be able to apply a very weak ailment from low-level abilities to build energy. It is their intention that using low-level skills with no investment is not an appropriate avenue to trigger copious amounts of high damage spells. Now, this marks the third major nerf since launch, following adjustments to slams on day 1 and the gas clouds on day 2. While balance is important, these frequent changes do highlight an ongoing issue, which is the high cost of respeccing. So right now, respeccing feels overly punishing, especially with so many adjustments happening. I've personally bricked my build before and had to have a friend help me progress until I could afford the respec. So GGG really needs to either increase the drop rate of gold or reduce the cost, especially during the early phases, so that they can encourage experimentation as we go through and play with these characters, as well as adjust for any nerfs as they come down the pipeline. So next up, the devs also addressed an issue with the move only command, which was name locking and causing unintended attacks. So this has been fixed, making movement more reliable. While I primarily use WAST, this fix will be a relief for anyone who's been frustrated by misfiring during combat. Finally, let's talk about endgame maps. Some maps were missing rare monsters entirely or had far too few. To address this, rare monsters will now appear on the mini-map when 200 mobs remain instead of just 50, and maps will have guaranteed minimum number of rare mobs. Over the coming weeks, the devs will also be refining map layouts and monster density to improve the overall endgame experience. So in summary, GGG is making great strides to address the community feedback. With many of these changes already live and more on the way, the loot and crafting updates are especially promising, but I really hope they tackle the respec costs next. It's just too punishing in a game that encourages build experimentation. What do you think of the updates? Are they addressing your frustrations with the game? Let me know in the comments. And if you're finding this content helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.